F124 Driver Career Mode Season 1, Round number 10, the British Grand Prix. We're here back in F124. First of all, I know I do sound a little bit sick. I've been sick pretty much all week. That is one of the main reasons why I didn't get a video out earlier for you guys. I would have hoped to at least get a video out yesterday for you, but yeah, I have been quite sick and I'm still getting over it at the moment. So apologies for not sounding as, energetic and stuff this video. I also did this race while I was sick as well, so, I didn't feel like it went too badly, but yeah, could be a factor. We do get a brief message about next year's regulations going into Season 2. No specific, this is what's going to change yet, but there will be some changes for Season 2, so that's interesting to know. We're probably not going to be with Aston Martin next season, because, I want to switch around, and we're having talks with McLaren, but we'll see how that affects everything later on. Looking at R&D going into this race, we have jumped back ahead of Ferrari once again, so Aston Martin back up to the third fastest team on paper once again. Everybody is so close in that kind of front pack though, so it doesn't really make a massive amount of difference. It tends to be kind of track dependent, depending on what track each team is good at, and also what tracks I'm good at. Silverstone is a track that I really enjoy. It is technically a home Grand Prix. I was born in England, so when I play this game, I put myself down as from the UK, but I live in Australia. But I do consider, I kind of consider both Australia and the United Kingdom both my home Grand Prix. But yeah, I do quite like Silverstone. It's never been my best track to drive on. I've not been the best at actually driving this track, but it is a track that I do enjoy though. Now Q1 gets done, and Ricciardo out there, a little bit of a shock to see him out in Q1, and Albon out qualified by Sargent for I think the second time this season in 10 qualifying sessions so far, so good to see that from Sargent. Not great from Albon there, but yeah, Sargent definitely doing a better job in this career mode than he is in real life. As we go into Q2 now, we're currently sitting P10. My first lap was not amazing, then this second lap in Q2, I just absolutely went for it. You can see I'm purple through Sector 1, purple through Sector 2. I'm almost 7.5 tenths up on my fastest time in Q1, in my first lap of Q2. I think I was about half a second off Alonso's time, off my teammate's time. We crossed the line, we go quickest, and we end up going just over 3 tenths quicker than Alonso that time, so we made almost a second up on that lap. It was a ridiculous second lap in Q2 there. I just absolutely went for it and just nailed the lap. No real surprises out in Q2. It is your usual 2 Red Bulls, 2 McLarens, 2 Mercedes, 2 Astons and 2 Ferraris into Q3, which we've seen quite a lot of this season. We've had the odd occasion where somebody's fallen by the wayside, and an RB or a Haas or something, maybe an Alpine, has managed to get into Q3, but this time around nothing of that sort. This would be my second quick time in Q3. We go purple through Sector 1, currently sitting P8, although I think that is because, well, that is partly because that first lap was on a used set of tyres. We now go down to P9, as I think Perez goes ahead of us, but only up to P8 there for Perez, so yeah, doing better than he is in real life, but still not doing amazing. Verstappen goes quickest with a 26.6, so that's 2 tenths quicker than I went in Q2. And like I said, that Q2 lap from me was pretty crazy. I was definitely on the edge there on that lap, so I don't know if we're really going to be able to improve that much, but we're giving it our all this lap. It's only green through Sector 2, so it's not a purple second sector. I did seem to be having very good first sectors, and then Sectors 2 and 3 weren't quite as good, especially Sector 3 I seem to lose quite a lot, which is interesting because there's not a whole lot of corners Sector 3, it's kind of just this final sector, but to be fair, I was struggling with that final corner a little bit. In the end though, it is good enough for P2, so it's pretty much the same time that I did in Q2, a 26.8. We're P2. Alonso's, unfortunately, he's all the way down in P7 with a 27.1, so definitely didn't get the most out of the car for him that time around, and it's Norris and Leclerc on the second row. Mercedes down in 8 and 10, so not very good for them, but it is Verstappen and myself on the front row for this British Grand Prix, our first home Grand Prix of the season.
You join us in the United Kingdom today, or Great Britain as it's alternatively known. Well, it's certainly a great day today as we welcome you to one of the crown jewels of British sports, a track of speed, history and drama. It's Silverstone. It's the British Grand Prix. The 3.6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Shaw completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Tsunoda, Bottas, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Joe, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Albon, Gasly and Logan Sargent. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright, so despite Sargent out-qualifying Albon, he's now been given a penalty, so he starts from the very last position. But we get underway for the British Grand Prix on the front row. It is not the best start for us. Verstappen gets a very good start off pole position. He's going to lead into turn 1. We just about managed to defend from Lando Norris into turn 1 and stick ourselves in, well, keep ourselves, I guess, in second place. As the two Ferraris, you can see, jostling a little bit on the timing sheet on the left there, the timing tower. But we are just about managing to stay here. But Verstappen's had a really good start. He's already half a second ahead of us, and we're already a little bit under pressure from Lando Norris here, looking behind more than we are looking ahead. And yeah, just trying to balance out the ERS. Now, this was another issue I had at this race, struggling with ERS like crazy. If you guys have any kind of guides or anything on how to effectively use ERS, you know, preferably like track to track. I really want some. I can't find any videos of like track to track ERS guides, because sometimes I'm pretty decent with the ERS, other times I really struggle. It is worse when you are kind of the car ahead and you're defending. Very difficult for ERS then. But yeah, just certain tracks, I guess mostly quick tracks, I struggle more because, you know, you're draining your battery a lot more than you would be at, say, like a Monaco or something. So this is quite a quick track, so I guess that is one of the reasons. But as we finish lap 1 here, Verstappen's had a great start. He's 8/10 almost ahead of us already as we round the final corner, 9/10 as we round the final corner. And yeah, it looks like we're gonna be playing defense here from Lando Norris behind and not really looking at Verstappen, as already onto lap number 3, Verstappen's already got a second lead over us, and now we're having to look behind us to Lando Norris, who goes past us quite easily out of that straight and onto the next part of the track. And yeah, unfortunately, we're really struggling here. You can see we're into the single digits on ERS. Norris has already broken free from us. Now Sainz has managed to get past us as well. And just like that, within 5 laps, we are out of the podium positions. But Lando Norris is looking very quick because he manages to catch up to Max Verstappen and is going to go for a move round the outside. Verstappen's going to try and hold the position, though. There's a little bit of wheel banging there. Crazy stuff. But Norris will get ahead and he will now lead his home Grand Prix here for McLaren. At the same time that was happening, Charles Leclerc, he must have a car issue or something because he's really fallen back here. And it's going to be 3 wide with him, Hamilton and Piastri in the other McLaren as they go into that corner, and Leclerc loses 2 positions in 1 corner. I haven't heard anything over the radio, but he must have an issue because he's absolutely fallen off a cliff here. And you can see now, only a lap or so later, he's now way behind Hamilton and Piastri. He's going to find himself battling with cars behind him there, as Piastri now is going to try and go around the outside of Hamilton. Great battle between these two forming here, the Aussie and the Brit at the Brits Home Grand Prix, and Piastri will just about get past Hamilton, so good racing from him there. His teammate's up in P1 though, so Piastri will be wanting to make some more moves to get closer to that podium. Verstappen and Norris still battle it out at the front here, as now a couple of laps later, Verstappen manages to get the position back from Lando Norris to retake the lead of this British Grand Prix, and he will head on to the next lap, the leader once again. Charles Leclerc currently sitting in P10, and he now has Yuki Tsunoda behind him and a massive train of cars, and this is why I think he's got an issue here, because he is so much slower. He should be a lot quicker than these cars here, and he easily gets overtaken by Tsunoda. So now Leclerc is out of the points. His pretty terrible season gets even worse for Leclerc here. We eventually manage to save some ERS and go for a move on Sainz to get back up into P3, into a podium position. So we're not looking terrible. When I'm sitting behind a car and have DRS, I can manage the ERS a little bit better, but as soon as we are then ahead, I'm having to use so much ERS just to defend the position that, yeah, once again, Sainz gets past because we just don't have the ERS to play with. Doesn't really matter here though, because we're coming into the pits this lap anyway for our change of tyres. I didn't even mention, bit of a different strategy this race. Instead of the usual kind of medium to hard one stop, doing a soft to medium one stop here in Silverstone, so must be a bit less tyre wear on this track or something, because yeah, that's I think the first time I've seen a soft to medium one stop strategy. We might have had it earlier in the season, and from what I remember, I swear I remember doing that once and it didn't really work out, but it's the strategy that everybody else is doing. Everybody started on the soft tyres here, so it's what we ended up going with, and Norris came into the pits with us. Verstappen did not come into the pits until a lap later, and as you can see, we've actually managed to undercut Verstappen in the pits here, so that's big news for us. That puts us up into a net P2, which is now P2 on lap 14, as everybody's now come into the pits. Unfortunately, Norris is way too quick for us. We're nowhere near him, almost 3 seconds behind, and Verstappen will quite easily get the position back on us up into P2, but you know, we have gained a little bit of time with that pit stop. The two Mercedes fighting each other. Russell actually managed to get ahead of Hamilton in the pit stops, but around the final corner, he's going to have smoke come out of his engine, and just like in real life, George Russell will be the first retirement of the British Grand Prix. Unfortunate for him, in his home Grand Prix here in Season 1, Russell is out. We continue to fight with Verstappen here. It's very much just a 4-horse race here. You can see a massive gap back from Sainz to Hamilton. He's almost 8 seconds behind us as Hamilton. We try going up the inside of Verstappen, but he manages to hang it around the outside. Great defense from Verstappen there. He keeps second place that time around, and although I didn't think I'd be fighting Verstappen, I thought I'd try and stay behind him, pull us away from Sainz and towards Norris, but I just found myself losing too much time, so I'm going for these moves on Verstappen, and we are getting closer to Norris. It was almost 3 seconds before. He's now only 1.7 seconds up the road, and we're slowly kind of pulling away from Sainz as well. Alonso now fighting with, who is that? Is that Piastri and Perez, as he goes round the outside of Piastri. Then Perez is going to go up the inside of Piastri as well, but then Perez locks up into the chicane. That lets Piastri have another go. They're going to now be side by side around the final corner. Piastri around the outside, and he, thankfully for him, keeps that position after Perez's lockup. This is probably going to continue on now because Alonso's managed to get away from them, which means that Piastri won't have DRS from Alonso up ahead, who's now going to try and fight after Lewis Hamilton. So it means that Piastri will come around this corner. They'll go on to this straight here, and that means that he won't have DRS. Perez will have DRS. Piastri does a little bit of a defensive move, but nothing crazy. Tries to hang it around the outside, but Perez manages to get the position up to, I believe, P7 for him. We are still here in P6, not really being able to make any gains on Norris while we are the car ahead. He's back up to 2 seconds ahead now, and Verstappen still fighting us. We're going side by side with him now through this next section as we head onto what I believe is the hangar straight, is it? I think this one's the hangar straight, down to Copse. Verstappen gets back ahead of us, so very nice move from him there. Just didn't want to fire that one. As we now head through the S's though, this is what I'm talking about. When I was the car ahead, I felt like the cars behind me were really hampering me through that section, whereas when I'm the car behind, I feel like I can really get up behind the car ahead. and go for a move, and that's what I'm going to do. Up into this corner once again, seems to be the best overtaking spot, up the inside of Verstappen and get back up into P2 again. But this is just costing us time, not only to Norris in the lead, but to Sainz in 4th, who is now right behind us. He is now in this train, and we have once again used way too much battery. Verstappen's going to get past. I just want to make sure that Sainz doesn't get past as well. So we managed to slot ourselves in between the two into 3rd place, but it's now becoming a 3-way battle here for 2nd place, with Norris kind of running away in the lead. Alonso has now caught up to Lewis Hamilton and is going to go for the move around the outside. Easy move down the straight, and he gets himself up into 5th position. So looking up for Alonso, you know, after not the best qualifying, he's a long way behind us, 8.5 seconds, but he is at least in a decent position now. We're just managing to pull away a bit with the DRS advantage that we all have. We managed to get back up the inside of Verstappen once again, but he does the switch back and is going to go for the outside into the chicane. We're going to try and go side by side through here though, leave him room though, give him the space that he deserves, and we're potentially going to go side by side. No, we're not quite going to go side by side around the final corner. That was a very nice switch back there for Verstappen. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for him, but still very good racing from him, and we kept that nice and clean. But once again, I just struggle so much here. It's going to be 3 wide as we go into this corner. We get overtaken by Verstappen and Sainz. I just don't have the battery to use here. We're also having to go a little bit careful on fuel because, yeah, fuel management seems to be a little bit of a problem here. Then on the penultimate lap, Sainz is going to go up the inside of Verstappen to take P2. So Sainz could be the dark horse here. This has really played into his hands. And although we are squabbling, Norris hasn't absolutely, you know, flown away at the lead here, but I think he's pretty much got it in the bag. By the final lap, we don't quite have the pace to get back at these two. What Verstappen has though is the pace to get Sainz back again for P2 though, but I think we're going to miss out on a podium despite these guys flashing their lights, running out of battery on this final lap. We get right up behind Sainz. We have a little bit of battery to use around the final corner, but it's very sketchy. You can see there going into hot lap mode, just really sketchy around that final corner. And unfortunately for us, it's going to be only P4. We miss out on a podium here. It was a great battle with Verstappen and Sainz. Norris though takes a dominant win here for his home Grand Prix.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has Landoed. It's Lando Norris for victory.
To do it as a team on home soil, that really means something special, and you can see how much it means to them, the drivers involved as well. Great job by them today, of course, as always, but for the fans watching on too, a great display of teamwork here today.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving that they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
Lando Norris does what he and McLaren couldn't do in real life at the British Grand Prix a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago now, as of this video's recording. He wins the British Grand Prix. He does it here. It's his 2nd win in Formula 1, just like it would have been in real life if he did it. Here, of course, he won... I can't remember what race it was he won, actually. Was it China? I think he might have won China or something like that. But he wins the British Grand Prix. Verstappen comes home 2nd, just like he did in real life. Sainz comes home 3rd. Very good result from him. Don't know what happened with Leclerc. He's not even in the top 14 there. So definitely had some sort of car issue. Didn't retire from the race, but yeah, not great from him. We come home P4, so it's a bit of an unfortunate finish for us. Alonso comes home P5 and with the fastest lap, so he was showing he had some good pace there. We've also been overtaken by Lando Norris in the driver's standings as well. We're now down to P4, ahead of our teammate now, so now we're P4 and P5 for Aston Martin. Lando is 1 point behind Hamilton for P2. Verstappen still 66 points in the lead of this championship, because just like in real life, it has been a bit of a mishmash of who's been, you know, the 2nd best. Sometimes it's been Hamilton, sometimes it's been Russell, it's been Norris, it's been us, it's been Alonso. It's like real life. It's been very all over the place, but just like real life, Verstappen has been ever consistent. Red Bull are still leading the Constructors' Championship as well. I think we actually moved back up to P2 as well, so that's pretty decent for us there. Mercedes P3, McLaren P4, and Ferrari P5. Haas also scored another point there. They are still in P10 though. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.